Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am doing a tag video today because I was tagged by Jordan Parsons and also by Christina at Knitting Books, etc. about 3 months ago. So I apologize to Jordan and Christina. I am very reliable. I will follow up on being tagged for videos, only a little bit slowly. So I'm sorry about that. It's a bit like my reading. Reliable but slow. It's got its pace. This tag is the 1001 books tag. It was created originally by Miss Reads a Lot, and so I'm going to include her original video here in the description. And my friends Christina and Jordan, if you don't know them already, you really should go and follow their channels because they are extremely interesting people for many different reasons. Christina is the most interesting reader in Lisbon, Portugal, and she has such a versatile and eclectic taste in books. Same for Jordan. He is in Arizona, and I call him the master in concision because he has this skill that I don't have of being able to be really concise in his booktube videos and pack a lot of great information in short videos, like right now I'm not doing, for example. Let's get to the prompts. Prompt number 1. 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? It can be prize list or a challenge like the Rory Gilmore challenge. I don't really follow prize or book lists. The only one I actually follow is an Italian one. It's the most prestigious Italian literary award. That's called the Strega Award. The literal translation is the Witch Award. And they're a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes the winners are not great, but sometimes the winning books are really great. And I think every winner of the Strega Award every year gets translated into English, and so it makes it into the international market. I have a couple of titles to suggest. Maybe I'm going to include them in my description below. Second prompt, 1001 books. Approximately how many physical books do you currently own? How many ebooks? Ebooks, unfortunately, I'm really old inside, as they say, and so I just don't read ebooks. I don't like them. I love to feel the paper, the pages. I'm one of those. In terms of physical books, how many do I currently own? I have some in my parents' home in Italy, some here, some in storage. Let's just say 1,600 overall, maybe a little bit more or a little less. Books read, approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime? Do you keep track? I used to keep track. I used to keep a little booklet where I annotated manually every title, author, and 1 to 5 stars in terms of my personal enjoyment. Before Goodreads, even before Amazon came up with their 1 to 5 stars rating, and then I kind of a little bit lost track, but probably I'm around the 1,400 mark, roughly speaking. The troubling thing, I would say, is the fact that the number of books to read that I am acquiring is growing much faster than the number of books that I'm reading every month. So there are two curves, and one is going this direction, the other one is growing much slower, and there's nothing to do. It's an act of optimism. I'm part of BookTube. Let's keep buying books. Let's keep filling those shelves. Who cares? 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? Do you have a favorite? I have not, technically, but I'm thinking of a science fiction story by author Ted Chiang, who's a great science fiction author. He won many awards. He won Hugo Awards, Nebula Awards for his stories. I think he won Arthur Clarke Awards as well. And he's a self-confessed Arthur Clarke fan, like me, like I am. That's why I love it so much. There's a story that he wrote that is very closely inspired by a story or these stories in general of the Arabian Nights. I'm gonna include the title in the description because I don't remember it now, but it's a gorgeous little story, like anything else actually that he's written. So Ted Chiang, keep him in mind if you don't know him yet. 1001 flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? Well, being Italian, I can say anything Italian, really. That's my favorite food. Cooked in Italian style, ideally with Italian ingredients in Italy. But outside of Italian cuisine, I could say probably Japanese and Mexican cuisines. I've really grown to love these two cuisines because I live here in Los Angeles and there are so many Japanese and Mexican restaurants here. And Los Angeles is a foodie paradise. There's so many different cuisines, Vietnamese. I've learned and discovered cuisines that I didn't know before, like from small countries in South America. I had never, for example, gone to a Cambodian restaurant, and there are some in Los Angeles too, aside from Vietnamese. So I'm still learning a lot, and every one of these is great. So I'm actually loving all of them. 1001 pages. Have you read a book that is over 1001 pages? Is there one you recommend? What's the longest book you have read? I'm thinking of Ippolito Nievo, who is a 19th century Italian author. He's part of Italian literature. Classical Italian literature is called Le Confessioni di un Italiano, the Confessions of an Italian. I don't know. Yes, I would recommend it, and it's worth reading if it's really long, even if it's really long. You do need to have an interest, at least, in Italian history, especially the history of the revolutionary Italy between 1820, 1830, and 1860, which is the date of Italy's independence with Garibaldi and all that story. If you do have an interest or even slight interest in that period of history, you're going to love this book, you're going to enjoy this book. 1001, what is the longest book you have read? I think that's the one because it's 1200 pages, probably around that number, and so that's probably the one. 1001 buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list? What is one thing on the list? Not too much. This would have with me traveling, to do with me traveling. In fact, I think at this point, after 3 years, that I have not gone back to Italy. My dream that is not bookish related is to go back to Italy. And if there is a bucket list thing that I would love to do is to show Rome to my wife, who is British. We went together to several Italian destinations. We visited Sicily, we visited Venice, we visited the north, some northern parts of, but never Rome. And so the beauty, the magnificence really of Rome, and I think Florence, if possible, I would love to show that to her because I've been there already, but then the last time that I personally was there was probably more than 15 years ago. So great bucket list item to cross very soon, as soon as possible. The next one, 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number? Is there a story behind it? No, I really don't. Maybe I used to when I was a kid, but no, I do not. 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author and or genre? Well, outside of the Divine Comedy, and I should say probably outside of theology, because I read a lot of Christian-related, religious-related books that I love, and but I consider them a certain type of reading because there's nothing else that gives me as much as a book on spirituality, on religion. The type of it's not only pleasure, is enrichment, development. So my approach to those type of books is of a certain kind. When I read everything else, it's a little bit different. So when I think about everything else, my favorite author in that space, which is endless in itself, is Arthur C. Clarke, because he is one of the very few, if not the only one I know, who used to combine a very technical, engineer-like accuracy and love for science, love for technology, with a poet's heart. This type of combination of characteristics is something I love and that resonates with me very much. 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? I love trekking. I love going for a jog. I love going for, especially around the Los Angeles hills. There are endless trails to go, not only jogging, but just walking around, having some trekking to do. I also enjoy tennis. I used to play a lot of tennis. Now I'm kind of without partners to play, but sometimes I find somebody to play tennis with. And being Italian, you grew up, back in my days at least, you had to play soccer, so that was part of my upbringing. And another outdoor activity that I love is reading, because I also read outside quite often. While walking or while sitting somewhere, that's something I do. 1001 book clubs, not a prompt, but a question for the comments. Should I start a 1000 book club with a book a month read along? Oh, I see. I see how it works. In terms of tagging, because I am so late, I don't feel like tagging anybody, but I would be checking if any of you have not done this tag, and then tag you in the description. So please check the description. And once again, thank you very much to Jordan and Christina. Sorry for being a little bit late. I wish you a great weekend, and thank you again.